It's not like that.
I just got it on the highlights. We can move it here too. What's going on, everybody?
Hello, you guys.
This is Marvin
and Amber,
and we're with the family O. Coming to you guys with another podcast episode that we are also recording for our YouTube and Facebook family. Appreciate you guys tapping in. We haven't gone live in a while.
We have not. Nope.
Yeah, it's a cloudy day here in the A.
Yeah.
Our gardens are getting some much needed water. It's been awesome not having to water. But we're going to talk to you guys quickly here because we got to run to Whole Foods in a little bit. I have a birthday tomorrow. Yes, I turn, how old do I turn?
38.
I stopped counting after 21. But I turned 38, super excited about that. There's only one place here in Atlanta that we know we can consistently get a vegan cake.
Yeah.
And that's Whole Foods.
Yep. So we're going there. So they close at 9, y'all. So we got to get this show on the road.
Yeah. So as you guys are jumping on in here, please do us a huge solid and hit the thumbs up button. It's greatly appreciated. It helps the YouTube algorithm. You'll hear a lot of people talk about hitting the thumbs up button. And that's only because it's so many. Oh, here's our cutie.
Say hi. Can't come in. Not
say hey. It's so many people that do videos that YouTube doesn't know who really is making content that people are enjoying. So if you could do us that huge solid, leave comments, all that jazz, it's greatly appreciated. And we have a clothing line. Check that out in the link in the description. But Babe told me we got to get this done. So we're going to jump right in. Liberty, do you want to say anything to the people before we get started?
Make sure to like, as I see 3 people have done, and subscribe and like this video. And have a great day.
Aww.
That was so precious.
Liberty has been such a trooper. She went to the dentist, and we both weren't able to go because of Hirona. They said they'd only let one person in at a time. So, Babe, you want to let them know quickly how Liberty did?
Oh, she did so wonderfully, y'all. She was a little nervous because she has this little wiggly tooth, and she was afraid that, the dentist would pull it and all that, but they just put her on watch to just keep wiggling it so it can come out. Every single day, and she did just fantastic. We were so proud of her, and you got a little goodie, remember, for doing such a good job?
I have 2 dolls, and they're sisters, and one of them's named, she's a baby, and her name's Mia, and my mommy let me buy a little tiny little bed. What's it called? Those little.
It's like a pack and play or like a playpen.
Yeah, kind of like that. And now she's upstairs sleeping in it.
Wonderful. Let us know as you guys are tapping in where you guys are checking in from. Liberty, you got a few nice comments. Someone called you a very beautiful child.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna look at the rain outside.
All right. Love you, sweetie.
So we're talking about, guys, moving to Texas and what you can expect as 2 former Texans. We've gotten a few questions with folks. We get people that hit us up about wanting to move to Atlanta, but we also get individuals that hit us up about moving to Texas and what our experience was like. And since we have spent several decades there, we thought we'd kind of flip the relocation podcast and talk about if you wanted to move to Texas, the places that you want to consider, the things that you want to, do on the front end to make the experience a positive one.
Exactly. So, Babe, born and raised in Houston, Texas.
H-Town.
And myself, not born, but raised in Dallas, Texas. So we're not going to focus so much on my upbringing in Dallas. We're going to focus more on Houston because I can speak more to that because when I was in Dallas, I lived at home. So as far as talking about environments and neighborhoods and stuff, I have more experience in Houston. But we are going to talk a little bit more about just some of the other Texas cities that you can visit and, just do a lot of road tripping too, right?
Yes. So when you think about Texas, and maybe there's bias here, but I say when you think about Texas, you think about Houston.
D-Town.
Okay, so Babe says Dallas. That's fine. But, we think about the Houston Rockets. We don't really think about the Dallas Mavericks, unless you're from
Dallas Cowboys. Come on now.
Yes,
Cowboys.
I forgot. Aren't they supposed to be America's team?
Yeah, they are. I'm just looking at some of the comments, babe. Keep going.
Yeah. So, anywho, We are going to talk about moving specifically to Houston because if we had to choose any one city, and we've been to all of the major cities in Texas, we would say Houston for a number of reasons, not just because I was born and raised there, not just because we met there, but because Houston has a lot to offer, and we want to explain it as though a person has never been to Texas and they want to know exactly what to expect moving to Texas. So as it relates to Texas in general, depending on what state you're coming from, Texas has no state taxes. So if you are working a job or career, whatever, from a tax standpoint, Texas is very, very favorable because there is no state taxes. So there's immediately more money back in your pocket. That was something I didn't realize when we moved to Georgia, and Georgia got a 6% state tax. So our paychecks were just a little bit smaller, but it's all good. We see what they're doing with it here.
Yeah, definitely.
Texas, you get a lot for your money, and that's in any capacity. That's food, entertainment, housing, all of that. You get a whole bunch for your money. And when we had the conversation about relocation, we weren't planning to move to Atlanta, Georgia at all.
Not at all.
For me and for Babe as well, you know, the majority of our family is here in Texas. And so we were initially looking at places to move to in Texas. And if it wasn't going to be Houston, it was going to be maybe Austin. But Austin, unfortunately, is not very diverse at all. It's all about University of Texas. And other than that, it's a college town. And it just wasn't diverse for us. And so we lived at a couple different places. Would you like to start as far as where our journey together began once we got married, and then I'll pick it up as far as where we ended at.
Okay, perfect. So we got married November 2002. So 2008 we got married, and I had my own apartment, which I was blessed enough that my then boyfriend was paying for.
It ain't tricking if you got it.
Hush.
No, but Babe, I think I had a better credit or something like that. I had experience. I had rental experience, I think.
Let me tell you really what it was. Well, it was that too, but I was a CA. If you guys remember, like RAs and college campuses that like oversee, you know, different residents and all that stuff. Yeah, so I was a CA because I lived in an apartment on campus, right? And it had gotten to the point where, and so make a long story short, I was having like a little bit of issues with some of the, I guess I would say, the leaders that were over us at that time. And so Babe did not like that. And he was like, you know, you're about to get ready to graduate anyway. And he was like, I just want you to just move from that situation. Because keep in mind, when you're a CA or RA, you get your rent for free, right? So I was living for free. But he took his, you know, money that he had at the time, and we went looking for apartments, and he got me basically I guess I would say my first apartment outside of college. So that started it off.
And where was it?
It was I can tell y'all the exact street, Janetta. It was Janetta. The apartments were called the
Marquee on Westheimer. Westheimer and Janetta.
Yeah, so that's like further down from the Galleria area.
About 10 minutes north of the Galleria.
Yeah, the Houston Galleria area. Because of course it really was. Because of course he could just go back home, you know, but my family was in Dallas. So anyway, make a long story short, so I brought that up because 2 weeks we lived there together before we moved to our official first apartment together as a married couple that was in Briar Forest, Texas.
Marquee on Briar Forest, which was about 20 minutes north. If you're familiar with Texas and you hear of a place called Beltway 8, there's the inner part, which is the downtown part. So here's how Houston is structured. There's inside of the loop, which is the 610 loop. And then further out, there's the inside of Beltway 8, which is like a toll road that goes around the entire city. And then you branch out into the further parts of the city. But where we lived was about 20 minutes away from Beltway 8 in a part of Houston. It was West Houston. The Briar Forest area, as Babe says. And why did we choose that particular area?
So we chose that area, honestly, because when we, keep in mind, it was the apartment that I had that they had got for me. It was a 1-bedroom, 1 bath, and we knew we needed more room.
Yeah.
And so at the time, there was a leasing agent that we were talking to her about getting a bigger apartment there, you know, currently where I was.
Right.
And so she was like, you know what? I live in the Marquee at Briar Forest. And she was like, you guys could get like a 1-bedroom plus like a little study, and it'll be a lot cheaper because of course we were in the like Galleria area and it's more expensive over there.
Yes.
And so that's how we ended up getting over there. We went to go look at some apartments, and we really liked the area. We was like, oh, this is really nice. Yeah. And so, that was our first apartment together.
And we actually used a service that I recommend to this day, a service called moveforfree.com. So if you're thinking about relocating to Houston and you're not quite ready to buy a home, definitely you'll want to use, at least when you move, if you move to an apartment, whatever the case is, or moving from an apartment to another, we use moveforfree.com. They are they're an apartment locating service. And if you pick the apartments through them or say that they referred you, then they move everything in your place for free. So we saved a lot of money on moving expenses by doing that. Now, as Babe was just saying, the further that you move out, again, outside of the 610 loop to the Beltway, the cheaper it does get, the more amenities that you get as well. Because one thing that we noticed, because we were looking at apartments that were right by the former Compact Center, which was now Lakewood Church, and certain amenities that we would see inside of the loop, you know, in the more happening hip part of town, the amenities were actually not as nice as if you were to go further out, you know, it's closer to the Beltway or outside of the Beltway. So I guess that says that they were trying to attract more people, you know, to the outer part of the city by giving certain amenities such as hardwood floors, or laminate countertops, and in some cases granite countertops. And you just have more from a renting standpoint, apartment renting standpoint, the further that you go out, and it's cheaper.
Yes, and more space, definitely more space, because inward, you know, you could find an apartment, let's just say a 2-bedroom apartment for like $1,500, for example, which actually that's actually pretty good. But I'm just making up something, a figure, but then it would be like so small, y'all, like 700, 800 square feet, you know. So if you had like, let's just say, I don't know, a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,500, and it was, I don't know, let's just say 1,200, 1,300 square feet, then at least you kind of getting like close to dollar for dollar, you know, per square footage. But yeah, so that was our first apartment. And so what was interesting is that we stayed there, was it a year, Babe, or 2 years or a year and a half? Yeah.
We were there like 2 years.
In an actual apartment?
We were there like 2 years.
Okay, so about 2 years. And then, y'all, we, like, one of me and Babe's dreams was always to live in like a high-rise apartment. Like, we would always go like looking around. If you guys have followed us for a while, you know we did our whole house hunting series without actual houses, but we would do that with apartments as well.
We would.
And so we would always see those high-rise apartments, and we were like, oh, we want to live in one day, you know? So in this same neighborhood, Briar Forest, off of Eldridge, okay, so we saw that there were some new, we like to call mid-rise, because they wasn't super high, but they were like 3 to 4 levels. 3 levels,
yeah, because it's Texas, so it's not going to be way. Texas is built out. They don't build up.
Yes, so it's like a 3-level mid-rise or whatever, and they were like, of course, brand new, and we were like, oh, we've never like had a brand new apartment or anything like that. So I guess we got information or something, and you know, we were told like, okay, they're going to be opening around such and such. No, I take that back. It was already open. Yeah, I take that back. It was already open,
but they hadn't filled to capacity, so they were still brand new.
That's what it was.
No one had ever lived there.
So we were waiting for our lease to be over with, so that we could see if we could like move into the apartments. And so that was like our second apartment as a married couple.
And this was, again, if you're heard of Texas, Houston specifically, you're a Westheimer. This was like all about 20 minutes north of 25 minutes north of the Galleria in that Briar Forest area. So the trajectory that worked for us is we were gradually moving towards West Houston, because at the time West Houston was it was still very new. It was a lot of older homes that were out there, but there were new apartments coming in. There were new homes and communities being built, and we'll ultimately we ended in West Houston, but we'll tell you guys a specific area in a moment.
Yeah.
But again, the good thing about that particular part of town was that it was in the energy corridor.
Yeah.
So your oil and gas companies, if that's what your career track is, you'll do well in that area. Malls were out there, or a mall, or two malls. Katy Mills, which was a big Mills mall.
Oh yeah, West Oaks Mall.
West Oaks Mall.
And Memorial City
Mall. Yeah. So you got 3 malls out there in
on
that
side.
On that side. You could, of course, if you want to stay in the city, I grew up on the southwest part of town, which is kind of that like west, it's considered West Belford, or they call it the SWAT, if you've heard of it. A rapper by the name of Toby Wigway talks about it, but I grew up in the SWAT, and that area is actually a lot better than when I grew up there. It's being built, the high schools are still within the Houston Independent School District, which the majority of the city inside of the loop is going to be Houston Independent School District, which is a good school district. I'm a product of it. They taught there when she was teaching in Texas, and I like the Southwest, but you're going to want to, and this is again just giving you options.
Yeah.
You're going to want to look at communities such as Richmond. You're going to want to look at communities such as Pearland. You're going to want to, you can be closer to downtown in the 3rd Ward area, or they call it Midtown now, but it's always going to be 3rd Ward because that's where Texas Southern is. But it's going to be kind of expensive. It was when we left, and we can only
imagine now.
Yeah, that it's gotten even worse. But you can still get a nice home in Pearland. You can still get a nice home in Richmond. What other part of the Southwest?
Sugarland.
Thank you. That was always an area that I was like, oh, I can't wait to buy a house there.
We actually thought we were going to move to Sugarland, but like I said, we'll tell you where we ended up getting our first home in a moment. But we love Sugarland,
And I can't think of, there's other parts of town, but we can't speak to that because we didn't live there. But those communities that I mentioned, and again, what you mentioned as far as in that Westheimer area, still a lot of apartments. There are homes there in that Westheimer Galleria area, but they are very expensive.
Yeah, you might let's just say if it's a starter home, you could start with a townhome or a condo. That may be beneficial, but the prices are going to be up. Obviously, the farther out you go, you'll get more bang for your buck. Of course, you may, let's just say if you have $400,000 budget, let me just say that, then you could get something, but then it's like your space, you're not gonna get the space with it. So it's like if you're gonna spend that type of money, you might want to get the space, unless you just really want that environment. You want a walkable area, you want to be able to be where action is. We're young, but at the same time we're kind of like family oriented. Yeah, we
even before we had lived.
Yeah, even before we had lived, we've always been. I mean, we obviously when we were in college at the Texas Southern University, we were in the mix a little bit, but not really, So
I want to grab this right quick as part of this little property.
Oh yeah,
Texas Southern, baby.
Yeah, do y'all see that?
We didn't change up presidents again, but anyway, it's another story.
Yeah,
but yeah, so if you are family focused, then you're gonna want to move further out to the western part of Houston. If you're single, no kids, and it's just you or you and a roommate or whatever the case is, you'll do well staying closer to the Galleria area. Maybe again going out Westheimer, north of Westheimer, and just finding you a nice, like you said, a nice little condo, a nice little townhome.
Yeah.
The other good thing about Texas and Houston as well is that the property taxes, although they are kind of high, if you go further west, the property taxes are a lot better. Within HISD, it is kind of Houston Independent School District. It is kind of high, but again, once you move further out west into the other school districts that we'll name in a moment, you do save some money on property taxes, and you get a lot more home for your money. So
exactly,
what ultimately to move and go get a get a house?
So what caused us to move and get our first home was that we wanted a child.
We did.
We were ready about 2 years after we were married.
Yep.
So approximately 2010, we talked about it. It was like, okay, it's been us for a while. We're ready for a change. We're ready to bring someone else into our environment.
Yeah.
Because by this time we had been together probably about 8 years, I guess. Yeah, because we had been together almost 6 before we got married, because we did college and all that together, and then the next year we got married. So yeah, we were like, okay, we're ready to share our space with someone else.
Yeah. And we had no idea how the home ownership process worked.
Yeah.
I always thought, as it relates to buying a house, like you just had to have all this, money to put down and all that. But this was around the time, if you guys remember, when President Obama was in office, and he was putting together certain packages to encourage folks to buy homes. I think you get like $10,000 or something towards a house.
Like $6,000.
We weren't ready to buy at that point, and we later heard a lot of those folks that bought homes, under those programs, it just didn't turn out to be the best situation. So, but the cool thing is that, there are a lot of first-time homebuyer programs in Houston. And if you are comfortable living in certain zip codes, they got a gang of programs that will pay a lot towards down payments, things of that nature. We highly recommend our Houston realtor.
Yes. She's amazing.
And she didn't ask us to do this, but, I want to send some love to her, because she had helped us. Let them know, while I'm looking up this number, how the experience was with her and how we found out about her.
Yeah. So at the time, Babe was working for the city of Houston. And what's cool too about the Briar Forest area that we lived in at this time is that there was a commuter bus that would take Babe. Like it was, he had to walk, I don't know, several meters to the bus stop. It would take him all the way downtown and then take him back home every day. So we saved a lot in that respect. But anyway. So Babe worked for the city of Houston, and he got on a website one day and just found
through the city
and found this family.
It was a couple.
Yeah. What's the name of their actual?
I'm looking it up right now. Okay. They are called. Her name is Faith Floyd. So you just Google Faith Floyd Real Estate, and I believe they're a husband and wife team.
Yes.
And it's God's Property.
That's what it was. God's Property. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
We highly recommend that you holler at her if you were thinking about moving to Houston.
Most definitely.
When I say this couple, this lady was so okay. So the only thing that I can compare it to is what our experience was with realtors here in Georgia.
Yeah.
And we had another realtor before we hired Miss Faith, but it was a friend kind of situation, and I had to fire him.
Yeah.
But with Miss Faith, she did such a good job of not making us feel dumb as first-time home buyers, not making us feel like, we were just a pre-approval letter. Like if we didn't come to her saying we're ready to buy right now. We were just learning.
We were.
And she was so pleasant with us and just not making us feel bad in any kind of way.
Exactly. Yeah. And then even when we came to like roadblocks or whatever have you, and we kind of thought, okay, well, maybe this is not the time for us to, buy our first home. Yeah. We thought she would just be like, okay, bye y'all. Nope. She was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and just do this now. Let's go ahead. She had like a solution for all the different
plan A, plan B, plan C.
She really did. She's been doing it for so long, for multiple years, you guys. Just the warmest person. And what I really love about Miss Faith is that she's a straight shooter, so she's very honest. She's not like going to try to just tell you what you want to hear. Even when we were getting ready to sell our home so that we could come here to Georgia, she came in and she's like, okay, I need you guys to do this. I need y'all to do this. I need y'all to do that. She said, y'all house gonna sell just like that. I need y'all to do this. I need y'all to do that. And we did it. And, it wasn't like she was coming in like, oh, yeah, everything is perfect. By the way, we did have a beautiful first home now.
We took care of it. We didn't have to do a lot to it.
We really did. We
touch up, nails,
it was,
paint, a little bit of paint.
Exactly. We took very good care of our first home. So it wasn't like a whole lot, but she was just so on top of it. And the cool thing also is that once we bought our first home, which was in 2010, we bought it in 2010, moved in 2011. Yeah, because we got it built, y'all. We was used to this new thing by this time. So we had gotten our the apartment that we were waiting on that was having new apartments and stuff. We got that one, and then after that, we was like, we will not go back to.
And I just want to say something quickly, just so folks know. Again, new doesn't necessarily mean that you are paying more for it. You can be in a new home. Some people like the quote unquote character of an older home, and that's fine. But what I will say is that you just have, if you're not a very handy person or you don't know someone that's super handy, go with new, because new will allow you to, one, have a home that really fits where our society is right now versus something that's old fashioned and then you have to upgrade and make a lot of those changes. You know, you see a lot of shows like Flip This House where they are able to really modernize an older home. A lot of cases, you know, if a home is just really, really old, it was built in the 90s, for example, there's only so much modernization that you could do that it just doesn't quite fit the home because you're just essentially putting rims on an Acura. You know, it's just kind of, if you have a certain amount that you're pre-approved for, if you're going the mortgage route, look at both new as well as an older home, and you might actually like a new, because typically the only downside to a new home is that it tends to be further out, and that might not matter if you work close to where you live anyway.
Exactly. And I just wanted to add also that with newer homes, there are homes that do, some of the builders put a lot of those characteristics of older homes inside of them. Like we were blessed with our builder now, that we were able to do a lot of the built-ins and a lot of the trim and the columns and the wainscoting and the, the things that stand out that you can't normally get in, I guess, in an everyday home. So your builder makes a difference as well, right?
I ain't know nothing about wainscoting until this baby here. You deal with all this.
Well, I like home stuff. Yeah, that's why I was being silly about how beautiful our home was, but I love decorating and all that stuff. So, but anyway, so check Miss Faith Floyd out.
Faith Floyd Realty.
Yeah, if you're interested in coming to the Houston area, she is phenomenal. Tell her that we sent you, Marvin and Amber and Liberty. She knows us very well.
Yeah, she wants us to come back.
Yeah, she does. She still. Oh, that's what I was gonna say a moment ago, babe. Speaking of that, is that we bought our home, like I said, 2010, moved in 2011. We kept hearing from her off and on until we actually moved 2018.
That's true.
She would like send us emails. She would call us. She would just text us, just to see how we were doing, like that. And it wasn't like a every so often, but just like,
checking in.
Yeah, it wasn't like a every month or every year, so to speak. But it was just whenever the Lord laid it on her heart, she would just check in on us, see how we were doing. She's like, "Are y'all ready to move yet?" Because when we bought our first home, she was like, "You're not gonna be here no more than 5 to 7 years," and she was right.
And this is another suggestion to that point, that if you're relocating, you may not want to buy a forever type of home.
Oh, that's true.
If you think you might be expanding your family, or you might, for whatever reason, my suggestion is to look at a home that's somewhat to a forever home, but not quite a settled home. If you've already been a homeowner and you're just relocating and purchasing a home in Houston, don't go for the super top tier, because you want to take advantage of something called appreciation. And that was the greatest thing that we did, is we bought a home that was in an area that was not very, it was up and coming. It was up and coming. And that was through her advice, our realtor, letting us know, hey, this area, boom, 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 this is what I foresee it doing. So you want to have a realtor that's knowledgeable. That's why we're saying call her. If you're moving to Houston, don't deal with nobody but her. But if you want to know that your home is going to also appreciate, because sometimes you can buy too much home and then you end up, wanting to move, and then you ain't gonna make, no money.
That's right.
And that was like, it was just a really, really great investment, because we took care of our home. We moved into a part of town, which I didn't even say where we moved to, Katy.
Yeah. That's where we moved. After the Briar Forest second mid-rise apartment, we moved to Katy, Texas.
Katy, Texas. I don't know about the area. We don't know about the area now because it's been 2 years. And when we went back, things had changed a little bit, a lot of it. The demographics had changed. But it's still a good area because home values are going up in the Katy area. Even from the home that that we sold our first home, the value is appreciated in the 2 years since we sold that home. So the new owners, you know, not only did they get a home that was meticulously taken care of, but they got equity, you know, from the moment we sold to them. So we highly recommend that you consider Katy, Texas, Cypress, Texas.
I was just about to say
Katy and Cypress are like side by side.
The side that we were on, babe. We got to talk about that because Katy is really big. There's baby, you have to describe it. I think we were in North Katy, and then the other side was South Katy, right?
Yeah, we were considered New Katy.
Yeah.
And there's Old Katy, which is closer to a place called Katy Mills Mall, which if you just keep straight on, it's I-10. I-10 West, and if you keep going, you eventually end up in San Antonio or Austin. But we lived on the Cypress side, still considered Katy, still had a Katy address, but it was this Cypress ISD or Cyfair Independent School District, which, in our opinion, it's a little more diverse. If you're looking for diversity, it's a little more diverse than Katy Independent School District, but if we had to choose between the two, we'd say the Cypress School District.
Most definitely. The South Katy or the older Katy, some people refer to it like a Cinco Ranch, is more expensive.
Right.
Where we were, like Babe said a moment ago, it was up and coming, and it was a newer part. Like when we were moving into our subdivision, they were still working on houses. Ours, of course, was one of the newer ones. And then there were other subdivisions around the same area that were building new homes as well. So it was a really new part. And like Babe said, the budget we had at that time, we couldn't even get a house there now. No. And it wasn't that long ago, but that's just how much it had built up. And then if you keep going down Fry Road, which is like the main road that we lived off of, you'll get to Cypress. And there are just tons and tons of beautiful homes and what they call master plan communities, you know, where you have everything is there. Your schools are there, your shopping is there, your entertainment is there, and so on and so forth. And so we really enjoyed that area. We actually thought that once we moved out of our first home into our second home, we were going to move to that area. We had looked like a lot of the House Hunter videos that you guys, if you've seen the series, those homes come from that area.
Top Golf is out there too.
Oh yeah, Top Golf is off of I-10.
There's lots of good restaurants off of an area called Highway 6.
Oh yeah.
If you are into, you know, Texas is known for Tex-Mex, and there's a Casa Olay that's there.
Oh my goodness, babe, really?
Prior to being vegan, man, when I tell you, we used to tear that place up, all up and down Highway 6. But you know, they've got there's a Sprouts out there. There's lots of restaurants. Now, something you want to be aware of, though, living in West Houston, is that it is flood prone. If you are close to, what is that river? What was that thing?
It's off of Highway 6. I don't know what it's called.
If you look between Highway 6 and Highway I-10 West, like that immediate area, like 10 miles in that area of I-10 West and Highway 6, I wouldn't buy a home there because it is flood prone.
Yeah.
Very flood prone. Where we lived, we were further enough out. Again, it was Katy. It was the 77449 zip code. I can say it now. We go.
Oh yeah.
It was a 77449 zip code. I can't believe I still remember that. But that area was good. It was unaffected by the floods. The water rose a little bit, but it didn't flood
exactly.
at all. And that helped us when we moved because for one, it wasn't in a flood. It didn't flood. We just had a teeny bit of water damage just come through the back door, but it helped us sell our home very easily. So we would recommend I-10 West. We would stay away from the 610 loop if you're concerned about flooding because it does flood within the 610 loop pretty much. On the
freeways, I mean, they just covered.
Anywhere close to the Galleria you're gonna flood. You're gonna deal with flooding. And the Bel Air area, you know, although it's a pricier area and a very nice part of town, it floods. And that's the thing that Houston is unfortunately known for is hurricanes, and it floods really bad. And we didn't want to deal with that any longer. So that, among other reasons, was why, you know, we would say we moved. But again, Houston is great for entertainment. Houston is great for food. Houston is great for the school districts, the ones that we mentioned. Out of all of them, Houston Independent School District, Cyfair, hands down.
And I just wanted to add, Babe was talking about like the food. You guys, Houston is so diverse.
Yeah.
When I tell you, that's the one thing I love so much about Houston. And so going to kind of talk about some of the other cities in Texas that we've gone to. We've gone to Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, of course, Houston, Corpus Christi.
What
else? El Paso. I've been there before. We haven't been there as a family, though.
Yeah.
Can't really talk a lot about it because it was on my way somewhere else. But those are like the main ones, you know, other than the little small cities that are around there.
Yeah.
But in Dallas, you guys, the way I grew up, it was pretty segregated. Yeah. So when I came to Houston, oh my goodness, it was a new world for me because I was not used to seeing. Like me, I'm African, and then right next door, I'm living to a Hispanic person, and then
across the street, it's an
Indian person. Then there's a white person here, and then there's an Asian person there. Like literally, in our neighborhood, it was so diverse. You see some of everybody in that whole little Katy area we're telling you about. Very diverse, and so that was one of the things that I loved about living in Houston. Like love, and coming here. Yeah. I told Babe, I was like, we got to find an area that's diverse. We have to, because I wanted Liberty to be able to experience that and have that that same real world type of experience. You know,
you want to go to school in a place that reflects the world,
that we live in. Exactly. So, food. That's what I was going to talk about.
Well, they have a lot of vegan options now.
Oh, we're in Houston, yes, but not even that, baby. I'm just talking about in general, like as far as oh Lord, I lost my train of thought. The variety of food is from the different cultures is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's some of everything.
Some of everything.
You get you some pho. You can get you some Tex-Mex,
Jamaican food, Lebanese food.
I mean, Ethiopian
food, Mediterranean food.
Yeah.
I mean, all the Asian groups that you can think of, that food is there. I mean, we like.
That helped our transition towards veganism because we went to, it was an a Nepalese buffet that we would go to, and that really helped. You know, we transitioned to veganism, but the food was good. Anybody could eat it.
Exactly.
Pepper Tree.
Yeah.
We always talk about Pepper Tree. Last time we went to Houston, we went to Pepper Tree about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, we did. We honestly did, and we're proud of it. But yeah, so like Babe was just saying, as far as us being vegan, we have been eating like that in Houston all these years that we already kind of knew, we can go here now that we've been vegan in, almost 3 years. Yeah.
3 years, wow.
Yeah, 3 years, July something. It's in the calendar.
Yeah.
But we knew that we could go to different international type of cuisine restaurants to be able to enjoy the food because we had been doing it for years. We just would of course eat meat as well if they served it. But yeah.
And jobs wise, it's so many corporations that their home base, their headquarters is in Houston. I think BP was out there. It's a lot of companies that are headquartered in Houston. So job wise, you are going to be just fine. You want to have a job secured before you move. We don't recommend, we didn't do it coming here where you just kind of come here with $1 and a dream.
Not with a family, especially.
Yeah, not with a family. With a family. If you have a network that you could, maybe crash at while you get your bearings, that's fine. But we would suggest watching a lot of videos on Houston, and we hope that this video and podcast is a good resource to get you started, get your wheels turning. Check out places like Indeed.com for jobs. Check out as far as from a real estate perspective. If you're looking for an apartment, then you just go through moveforfree.com. You'll be good to go. But for a home buying purchase, you absolutely have to holler at Faith Floyd. Faith Floyd, God's Property Realty.
Exactly.
I have a number for her, but I don't know if this is her number that she puts out. So just Google it. It'll be the only thing that pops up. Faith, like having faith, and then Floyd.
Exactly. And if you actually, really are like interested in, you're like, okay, we're moving to Houston and we're looking for a house or we're looking for a realtor and all that. You can contact us through our email at thefamilybusiness@gmail.com and we can get you her information that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did do that. I didn't think about that.
But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as far as schools are concerned, you want to check out greatschools.com,
I think it
is.
Or
.org.
Yeah, you might be right, babe. .org.
But great schools. But like I said, the particular area code we lived in, again, we live fairly far. We're about 30 minutes from downtown. Was Katy, Texas. But again, anywhere West Houston, bringing it all the way in as close to the Galleria, you can't go wrong. Richmond, Pearland, Katy, Sugarland.
All those areas were good.
Yeah, Midtown, again, if you want to be in the city. Where would we say stay away from? Okay. Stay away from the southeast side.
What is that, baby?
That's like going to be your sunny side.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. That is an area that is close to Texas Southern University, but it is the hood. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean is things may be changing now because gentrification is rearing its head. So let me pivot. If you're from Sunnyside, please don't cuss us out in the comments or don't thumbs down. Speaking of thumbs down, go ahead and hit the thumbs up while you're tuned in right now. Everybody that's got about almost 20 folks here, go ahead and just hit that thumbs up button. It's greatly appreciated. But you want to stay away from areas that are on the southeast side. For one, because it floods, and it did very badly when it did flood. And for two, the school systems are not quite the best. The east side of Houston, we don't recommend. That's going to be close to your factories, the chemical plants and things of that nature. And they're always having issues with, stuff being in the air and I don't want to say poison or anything like that, but you're just going to be very close to factories. And if you're a family or just a single person, that's going to be no bueno. The north side. Okay, so the north side is kind of hit or miss. So the famous neighborhood in the north side, and we're going to wrap this up here, but the famous part of the north side is going to be the Woodlands. The Woodlands, if you go north, you're heading towards Dallas, but the Woodlands is very popular. Spring, Texas is before the Woodlands. That's a very popular area, but not as well known, and from an income and economic standpoint, it's a step down, but still a very nice area. You can still get some new builds. Greens Point is kind of, you just got to be careful.
Questionable.
It's a little questionable.
Going back to the Woodlands, y'all, the Woodlands is a very nice area. If you're looking for diversity, that would not be the place for you to go. That's why I was just shaking my head, because we love going out there, but we would just barely almost see ourselves when we were out there. And it was just like, oh my goodness. Like,
it's very snooty too.
Yeah. But it's nice though. We used to enjoy going to the mall, and they have like a little river walk thing. It's a nice place to visit from our perspective. But ultimately, like Dave was saying, some of the best areas that we used to frequent would be the Richmonds, the Sugarland, of course, Katy, where we live, Cypress, Texas, which is right there on the other side of Katy. Those would be some of your best ones. Pearland, we spent some time. They spent a little bit more time there than I did. But when I went there, it was cool, And
you're close to the Beltway. When you live in those areas, you're close to the Beltway, which again is the toll. You're going to pay a toll when you live in Texas. If you live in Houston, if you live that far out where the Beltway is, you're going to have to take the toll to get into the city, unless you just want to drive a long time. But the toll will get you to the airports, Hobby Airport, which is where we always would take Southwest, and you get there from any part of the western part of Houston, about 20-25 minutes you get to the airport. To get to Intercontinental, though, you still will take the tollway. Again, the tollway was made as a way for the city to make money, in my personal opinion, because you really can't get you have to touch the toll in some capacity if you're moving around outside of the 610 loop.
Exactly. I wanted to touch a little bit, babe, on entertainment. We talked about that there is entertainment, but just kind of talking about some of the things that we did. We love the outdoors. Where we lived in particular, there were parks. I mean, nothing like Georgia, y'all. Nothing like Georgia. But there's this one park, though, in Katy that we would take Liv to all the time. The most beautiful park ever. What is it? Mary Jo Peckham
Park.
Oh, my goodness, you guys.
Terry Hershey Park is a very popular park out in West Houston. Memorial Park. Exactly.
But that Mary Jo Peckham, y'all, I mean, gorgeous ducks, pond. They had golf. They had swimming, indoor swimming, workout facility. And because you are we were a Harris County resident, you get to use the facilities for free. Okay. So Libby even took swim classes for free there.
Yeah.
So that was one of the benefits of living in that area. So the parks, like I said, are nice. Like I said, being here in Georgia, I'm spoiled. So I just got to be honest. They have nothing compared to here, but still nice.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the times what we would do is the different areas that we called out, like the Sugarlands and the Katy and the Cypress. And there's also an area called City Center that we would go to all the time. That's right there by Memorial City Mall.
Yeah, that's a poppin' place.
Yeah, very, very nice. And it's basically like those type of areas. If you've ever been to LA before and they have Rodeo Drive, that's kind of what it reminds me of, where you have lots of shops, and then you have like hotels and restaurants, and you have like a little green area where the kids can go play and all that.
Yeah.
We have tons of those all around the city.
Yeah.
We have
green spaces.
Yeah. Houston has tons of those all around the city.
On, you can leave Houston, but Houston ain't
I mean, I'm still
you.
a Texan girl, but I'm saying we're in Georgia now. So the way I said it was like we were still there.
Yeah.
But y'all, we had in Houston, there are tons of those all over the city. You can find those in the Galleria area. That's another thing I love too about Houston is that when you go to the malls, there's always like the little play areas for kids. Yeah. A lot of our entertainment involved around food. Yeah. We would go to all sorts of festivals. Like they would have the Greek festival every year. We would go to the vegan festival. Even before we were vegan, we would go to that. Juneteenth celebration.
Festival, that'd be over there by Texas Southern and U of H.
So we would do a lot of stuff like that. Concerts, if they had them, we would do that, like little, like local talent and stuff like that. Yeah. We had something called the Miller Outdoor Theater, that they have different shows and things there.
Typically always free.
Yep, typically always free. I mean, big amphitheater that's outside.
Museums, Natural Houston.
How did we forget?
The Museum of Natural Art, which is dope. The Museum of Natural Science.
Yes.
The Children's Museum.
Mental Collection.
The Mental Collection. Yeah, this is all in downtown Houston. But a lot of times they have free days, and you just a good website to check out as far as free events, because that's how we got down with our date nights, and we're still like that to this day. We would find free or cheap place. So a good website to check out would be HoustonOnTheCheap.com to find out all like the free events. And typically if you look up their magazines, city magazines, I forget what it was called. Those will get you, but Houston on the cheap. That's highly recommended for all the free and cheap, family friendly, and just entertainment stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then a church, of course, y'all went to Lakewood Church.
Lakewood,
but you can find a good church anywhere in Houston. It's a lot of, a lot of churches all over, just like most cities. Yeah,
lots of any denomination is there. If you're other religions, they have all that there as well. I mean, I think that's. I wouldn't know what else to say about Houston. I mean, we talked about the entertainment, movie theaters are plenty, of course. We talked about church. We talked about schools. We talked about owning a home, buying a home out there. That's pretty much it.
Is that us?
That's it. Yeah. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this. We just we want to get on camera and just talk about it, because someone reached out to us. If you have any, suggestions for content that we'd like to cover, I see a few folks here in the comments talking about Africa. We can't wait to get back over there.
We cannot wait.
It's a lot going on in this world, but we already know that Africa is going to be home in some capacity, and we'll maybe cover that in a future podcast. But as you guys are jumping out here, check out the links in the description box of this video and podcast if you want to find out the various ways to support the channel and things we got going on. We got some really cool shirts. We're about to order some of our own shirts. We got a Africa shirt. We got
love that one.
Christian themed Believer shirt. We got some really, really cool designs.
And we got phone cases too, y'all.
We do got phone cases. Yeah. So just help us out. Just take 5 seconds, look in there. If you see something you like, cool. If you see something you don't like, that's fine. But share it with a friend. Maybe they'll like it. But other than that, we appreciate you guys rocking with us. We appreciate that this channel is growing. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel that way and click the notification bell. That way you're alerted as soon as we have new content coming out. We got some cool stuff coming down the pike, more cooking videos.
Yeah.
What else? More Atlanta videos.
Yeah, more Atlanta.
Talk about Atlanta.
Yeah, you guys have been asking for Atlanta videos, so we'll definitely get that to you guys. And just let us know if you have any questions. If we didn't touch on anything about Houston that you guys, have questions about, just let us know. You can always, y'all, DM us on Instagram too.
Yes, at @the_family_ the letter O. And we're on Facebook as well, at The Real Family O. So until the next podcast, this is Marvin
and Amber, and we're with the Family O. Bye.
Right, peace, y'all.
And stream.